Hi, church family. We're the Millers. I'm David.
And I'm Dianne Miller. And we own David Miller Plumbing. And we've attended this church together for 15 years. And I've been at this church for 21 years. And this is what happened to us last summer. On July 8th, everything in our life completely changed. Our phones quit ringing. Our customers weren't calling. The only phone calls we were getting was from our contract commercial jobs saying that they had to shut down indefinitely, which meant our income stream went from a very good living to nothing. And then it started back up a little bit the end of September and October. We were just thankful for every phone call that came in. We went into the missions conference we attend here at our church. And we went to the missions conference and we listened to the testimonies of all of the missionaries. And each night, David would drive home saying, Dianne, what are we going to do? And I would look back and say, David, what can we afford? And then the third night, and then the fourth night, we prayed about it every night, all day long. We kept talking to each other about it. And we just knew that we had to do something, because the faith promise is much more than the missionaries and their testimonies. The faith promise is what God's directed us to do. So we went to the missions conference and we had lunch with the missionaries, and we really got to know them personally. And as each day went on, David had his card out, and I would walk by his office and I'd look down at his desk and I'd see him. He would just praying over that card, what he was going to write, what he was going to fill out. And he said, Dianne, here's our commitment. And I looked at it and I'm like, David, how can we afford this? After all that we've been through, how can we afford this? And he said, Dianne, we can't afford not to. So then we made that commitment, and about 2 weeks later, my phones would not stop ringing. People were calling me constantly. The contractors were calling, okay, we're ready to start. Not just one job, but all the jobs. And David had about 6 or 8 commercial jobs going. And the service department went from nothing to we're working 24 hours a day to try to catch up. And I looked at you and I said, what is going on?
And I replied that it's simple, Dianne. It was the faith promise.
And it hit me. You just can't outgive God, no matter how hard it was. And it was hard. And the fact that we could sacrifice. As C.S. Lewis quoted, I do not believe one can settle how much we ought to give. I'm afraid the only safe rule is to give more than we can spare. Because you can't outgive God. You can't just give what you can spare. You've got to reach down into your heart and to give more. Because the more you give, the more God gives back. 10-fold, 100-fold, 1,000-fold. And that's our faith promise story. So this year, David has decided, which did not shock me. This did not shock me at all. And I totally believe in what he's saying. He said,
we're going to double our giving this year based on last year's returns.
And the church they're giving in the church during the worst time in our economy, the worst time medically. The church is doing fabulous. And the giving just keeps going. Every week when we look in the church bulletin, and we remember years past in the summertime, we barely made the budget. And then we look in the church bulletin, and you said, see, look, Dianne, every week. So we're very excited, and we hope that you'll join us at the missions conference to know what God's doing in our lives, what God's doing in your lives. Worldwide. And no matter what happens until Jesus comes, that we just have to focus our lives on Jesus.